13Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. recognizes the contributions of the Philippine National Police retired Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. Some political analysts assert that the gentleman's agreement of former President Rodrigo Duterte with China warrants thorough investigation by the Senate. House Deputy Majority Leader objects to the questionnaire used in the Pulse Asia survey on charter change or proposed amendments to the 1987 Philippine Constitution. And we will discover why tens of thousands of demonstrators plan to sleep in tents in Jerusalem in order to stage their protests against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, the 1st of April, 2024. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media account. I am Harleen Delgado. First in the news. In a significant development today, April 1st, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. appointed the new Philippine National Police Chief, Police Major General Romel Francisco Marbil. The announcement came during the turnover of command ceremony and retirement honors for General Benjamin Acorda Jr. at Camp Crame. Marbil, known for his extensive experience and dedication, pledged to tirelessly serve the nation's interests and work towards its betterment.
Ang pangarap ko ay pangarap nyo rin. Patatag na ekonomiya, maayos na lipunan at maayos na kapulisan. Yan po ang unang kataga ng sinabi ng ating Presidente during the inauguration. Ang masasabi ko po sa Anyong Excellency, Sir, matutupad po.
His career trajectory reflects his commitment to public service, having served in various capacities within the PNP, including Director of the PNP Directorate for Comptrollership and as Director of Police Regional Office 8 and the Highway Patrol Group. A proud alumnus of the prestigious Philippine Military Academy Sambisid class of 1991, Marbil's tenure as PNP chief will extend until February 7, 2025, coinciding with his mandatory retirement age of 56. Marbil assumes the helm of the PNP, succeeding General Benjamin Acorda Jr., who completed his tenure following an extension granted by President Marcos Jr. until March 31 of this year. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. recognized the contributions of retired Chief of the Philippine National Police, Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. President Marcos also challenged the new PNP Chief, Police Major General Romel Francisco Marbil. Nel Maribohok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. challenged the new Chief of the Philippine National Police, Police Major General Romel Francisco Marbil, to address the emerging threats to the security and peace of the country, such as cybercrime, terrorism, and transnational crimes. This is one of the directives of President Marcos to the new PNP chief. In his message during the retirement ceremony and change of command of the PNP earlier today, April 1, PBBM emphasized the importance of ensuring the safety of communities.
Let us now ensure that the PNP will be agents of progressive transformation in the lives of our people by ensuring the safety and well-being of every community in the land.
In connection with this, the President advised the PNP to remain vigilant in the face of challenges while striving to improve the condition of the Philippines where everyone can live in peace.
With Police General Marbil as our 30th PNP Chief, I enjoin everyone to face the coming days with even greater fervor, determination, and optimism to achieve our goals and aspirations for the nation. Let us remain vigilant in the face of challenges and opportunities as we strive to build a bagong Pilipinas where everyone can thrive and live in peace.
President Marcos also commended the service of retired PNP Chief Benjamin Acorda Jr., under whose leadership the information technology and community relations of the PNP were strengthened. Additionally, President Marcos noted that under his leadership, the PNP was elevated as the third highest performing government agency in 2023 with a 76% trust rating based on Okta research. Nel Maribuho, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Some political analysts assert that the gentleman's agreement struck by former President Rodrigo Duterte warrants thorough investigation by the Senate. This call to action aims to unravel the intricacies and implications of the former president's accord with China. Dante Amento tells us why.
The Filipino people should hold former President Rodrigo Duterte accountable for his actions and policies regarding China's actions in the West Philippine Sea. This is the view of Professor Renato de Castro, an international studies expert from De La Salle University. He asserts that while presidents possess the prerogative to forge agreements with other nations, the ratifications of such pacts on the nation's sovereignty cannot be overlooked.
By entering into an informal arrangement with China, we give legitimacy with Chinese presence there, which is, of course, is not, in a way, it's illegal, because China has no business preventing us from resupplying our troops at Ayungin Shoal, whatever we do at Ayungin Shoal, because it's still international waters. By cutting a deal with China, we tacitly accept China's illegal occupation of that area.
De Castro contends that the agreement with China effectively condoned China's unlawful encroachment into Philippine territory. He advocates for a thorough Senate investigation into this matter, emphasizing the gravity of its implications.
Probably it's time to call for a Senate investigation of the secret deals that the Duterte administration had entered with China during this 6-year term. This might just be the tip of the iceberg.
This sentiment is echoed by Ronald Llamas, a former presidential advisor for political affairs, who denounces the perceived betrayal of the nation's interests.
Kailangan niyang hearing na yan sa Kongreso at saka sa Senado para malaman natin ano ba yung extent ng katrayduran. Ano ba yung extent ng treason, no? At paano natin mapapalakas yung ating mga bansa para yan ay mapigilan. Pero ang pinakamahalaga, no, ay yan ay mapresenta sa publiko.
Llamas highlights the significance of protecting the BRP Sierra Madre, emphasizing that any action endangering it would effectively serve China's agenda, potentially forcing the withdrawal of the Philippine armed forces from the region. This, he asserts, would constitute a grave betrayal of the nation's sovereignty and interests.
Napaka-treasonous niyan, no? Lalo na, ginawa mo yan sa konteksto na nanalo tayo dun sa UNCLOS, na atin itong teritoryong ito, na atin itong bakura na ito, at yung China ang illegal ang presence dito.
Former presidential spokesperson Attorney Harry Roque's revelation of a gentleman's agreement between Duterte and China further underscores the urgency of investigation. This agreement purportedly traded in action in the disputed territories in exchange for China's facilitation of food supplies to the BRP Sierra Madre. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
House Deputy Majority Leader and Representative of the 1st District of Iloilo, Janet Garin, has objected to the questionnaire used in the Pulse Asia survey on charter change or proposed amendments to the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Meanwhile, the president of the polling body states that they have not and will never be a part of any black propaganda. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
House Deputy Majority Leader and Iloilo 1st District Representative Janet Garin acknowledges that Pulse Asia Survey Incorporated is a reputable polling body. However, she objects to the set of questions that the Pulse Asia has included in its survey. She said the proposed amendments in the past and present administrations should not have been combined. Some proposed questions included are you in favor or not in favor of changing the present unitary system of government and having a federal system of government, and having a federal system of government for the country, as well as term extension for national and local elective officials.
Naging chop suey siya. Bakit? Ang tinatanong doon, ang pinag-uusapan kasi is chacha, economic chacha ngayon. Pero ang nakasaad doon ay yung mga proposal ng previous administration na kinumbine sa proposal nitong current administration.
Apart from this, Representative Garin said that 75% of Filipinos, or those who have little or no knowledge at all of the 1987 Constitution, should not have been asked on the proposed amendments.
The survey should have focused the questions on those who have knowledge. Maganda siguro na baguhin ng Pulse Asia na ang dapat nilang tanungin ay yung nakakaintindi lang sa konstitusyon.
According to Ronald Holmes, president of Pulse Asia, they have been running the questions for 20 years to determine the extent of Filipinos' knowledge about the Constitution and their perspective on initiatives to amend the Charter, as well as whether they favor or do not favor Charter change, and their opinion on specific current and prior proposed amendments. Holmes has reiterated that as an organization of academics, they have not and will never be a part of any black propaganda. Based on the latest Pulse Asia survey, 88% or majority of Filipinos have shared their opposition to charter change. The survey was conducted through face-to-face interviews with 1,200 adults nationwide from March 6 to 10, 2024. The result was released on March 27, a week after the House Representatives approved resolution of both houses number or RBH 7, or the economic chacha version of the lower chamber of Congress. This is much higher than the March 2023 Pulse Asia survey result, in which only 45% have opposed chacha. Meanwhile, 75% of Filipinos have little or no knowledge at all of the 1987 Constitution based on the March 2024 survey. Pulse Asia President Holmes says it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to process the data they gather after finishing face-to-face interviews for a nationwide survey. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. More reasons behind the stories when Y News returns. Senate President Juan Miguel Migzibiri has clarified that he will not be running for any public office in 2028. This comes after he placed fourth in the recent vice presidential survey of Pulse Asia, where he garnered 7%. In fact, the Senate leader says he is contemplating to retire from almost 30 years of politics come 2028. He further extends gratitude to voters who supported him in the survey, particularly in Mindanao and Visayas. The lawmaker assures that he will dedicate his last 4 years of service to uplift the lives of Filipinos through crafting meaningful laws. A lawmaker has expressed concern over the recent directive issued by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., which aims to strengthen the country's maritime security amid the continued aggression of China in the West Philippine Sea. The presidential sister herself, Senator Amy Marcos, says the Executive Order 57, particularly the section that authorizes the National Maritime Center to accept donations, contributions, grants, or gifts from domestic and foreign sources, is a risk of foreign interference. She also believes that emotion rather than reason has prevailed in the country's maritime row with China and is leading the country down to a dangerous path. For Marcos, who chairs the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, what the country needs are solutions for peace from those who claim to be genuine allies of the Philippines to avoid another regional conflict. The Philippine government is expected to deport 4 Chinese nationals who are allegedly behind the proliferation of the illegally acquired Philippine documents. Dante Amento tells us why.
The Bureau of Immigration, in collaboration with other government authorities, arrested 4 members of an alleged syndicate involved in the proliferation of fraudulently acquired government-issued documents and identification cards or IDs.
These include a driver's license, birth certificate, and postal ID, among others. They are identified as Wang Ti, Li Xiaoming, Gu Xiyang, and Liu Ziyang alias Ken Garcia Lee, the alleged leader of the Chinese Mafia.
Ito pong apat na ito ay nakita po na may involvement doon po sa proliferation ng mga Philippine documents na kumakalat na nakakakuha yung ilang mga foreign nationals despite not being Filipino.
They are currently detained at the immigration facility in Bicutan, Taguig for charges of violation of the Philippine Immigration Act. The Bureau hopes that with the arrest of these individuals, the proliferation of illegal acquisition of Philippine documents would be stopped.
Meron pong mga dokumento na nagsasabi na nagbebenta sila or meron silang mga negosyo pretending to be Filipino. So in the community, ang alam po sa kanila ay sila po ay Filipino. At yun din po ang pakilala nila doon sa kanilang mga transaksyon. But a careful check of their records revealed na sila po ay mga Chinese nationals.
The government, through the immigration, will deport and blacklist these Chinese nationals from entering again in the country.
Tinuturing po natin ang mga big fish ito doon sa sindikato na nag-i-issue or nagbebenta ng mga Philippine documents sa mga foreigners.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The heat index experienced in some places of the country have reached danger level. This has prompted some schools to suspend their classes for the safety of students. The State Weather Bureau PAGASA and Task Force El Nino have stated that decision to suspend classes depends on local government units and schools. Jed Nadasina details why.
With the increasing heat being felt recently, some places in the country have suspended face-to-face classes in schools. State Weather Bureau PAGASA has clarified that they do not provide exact temperatures or degrees Celsius when classes can be suspended in an area. According to John Manalo, Weather Specialist 1 of DOST PAGASA, the local government or the school itself will have to declare the suspension of classes due to the extreme heat experienced in the respective areas.
Nakadepende, of course, sa mayor ng lugar or dun sa mga school itself, yung mga head ng mga schools. So may kakayahan sila, pero yung threshold, kung may recommendation kami ay it depends. So sila yung inaalaw natin na ibigay.
This is also echoed by Task Force El Nino spokesperson, Assistant Secretary Joey Villarama. He clarified that suspension of classes should be decided by the leaders of affected areas because they know the actual situation.
Alinsunod po doon sa kautusan ng DepEd noong April 2023, April last year, nasa sa inyo po ang desisyon. Kung hindi na po talaga convenient, hindi lamang actually convenience ang isinasaalang-alang dito. Kung hindi po talaga viable at hindi na po talaga advisable na tumungo pa sa mga classroom ang ating mga kabataan pati yung ating mga teacher, mag-shift na po tayo sa online classes.
Warm weather is expected until the month of May, and the public should be aware of the common illnesses related to this.
Maaari po tayo na makaranas na heat exhaustion, yung sobrang lalo na kung meron silang continuous activity na siguro direct sunlight, and then pwede rin yung heat cramps, and then kapag danger or extreme danger, maaari din, wag naman sana, ay yung heat stroke.
Awareness is important, and alternative ways to relieve the heat, such as drinking of water or wearing heat protection. Jed Neresina, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Animal Industry, or DA-BAI, has provided reassurance to the public today, April 1, affirming that the country is well equipped with vaccines to mitigate the potential spread of anthrax, a serious bacterial disease primarily affecting grass-eating animals. According to DA-BAI, they are strictly monitoring the free vaccination of livestock animals to avoid its possible threat.
Wala dapat ipangambahan dahil nga handa ang Department of Agriculture. Hindi naman natutulog meron tayong mga bakuna doon at very active ang Bureau of Animal Industries.
Recent reports surfaced regarding an anthrax outbreak in Laos, where several pets were reportedly affected, with suspected cases among humans as well. In response, DA Bayi urges farmers to promptly report any symptoms suggestive of anthrax in their animals and seek consultation with veterinarians without delay.
Our government gives free tests on this. And actually, even the anthrax vaccine is given free by the government. Lahat ito subsidized by the Department of Agriculture.
Symptoms such as lethargy, fever, shivering, and respiratory distress in animals should be closely monitored and addressed promptly. Furthermore, DA Bayi emphasizes the need for caution among citizens, advising against consuming any animals suspected of being infected with anthrax. According to the World Health Organization, anthrax can be transmitted to humans through direct contact or ingestion of animals contaminated with the disease.
Huwag nilang kakatayin yun. Dahil nga, as I said, zoonotic, pwedeng ilipat sa tao. Tumawag sa veterinaryo at ma-check ng gusto. Kasi mahirap naman na hindi lang kumain yung baka, anthrax na kagad. Kailangan ng scientific and science-based analysis.
However, it's crucial to note that anthrax does not spread through human-to-human transmission.
And for the news abroad, telecommunications service provider AT&T suffered a massive cybersecurity breach, exposing private data including social security numbers of over 73 million of its former and current customers on the dark web. According to a statement posted by the company on Saturday, March 30, they are still assessing the potential source of the data leak and are actively informing impacted customers. Other personal information that were leaked include passcodes, email and mailing addresses, phone numbers, and birth dates. While initial reports show that the breach did not include customers' financial information or call history, AT&T advises those impacted to closely monitor their account activity and credit reports. Last month, AT&T made headlines with a widespread service outage that left thousands of customers without cell phone service for around 12 hours. The outage was not caused by a cybersecurity attack. Tens of thousands of demonstrators have emphasized plan to sleep in tents in Jerusalem in order to stage their protest. They want to voice out their wish to oust Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu while also demanding early elections. Mavin Carrizo tells us why.
Before going under a successful hernia surgery, Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a speech on national television to address concerns of tens of thousands of protesters against the government. This is considered as the largest anti-government protest since the war on Gaza started, with a crowd of protesters stretching for blocks around the Knesset. The protesters say they will sleep in tents in the city, and organizers vowed to continue the demonstration for several days. The demonstrators are demanding for a ceasefire deal to free Israel captives and for the calling of early elections. President Netanyahu replied to opposition leader Yair Lapid's sharp criticism regarding leaving to captives their fate by stating that he understood the pain felt by families. He, however, reiterated his vow to stage a military offensive in the southern Gaza city of Rafah, which is now home to over 1 million who have fled fighting elsewhere. Despite pressure from the United States that it would be a mistake to invade Rafah, he said victory could not be gained without going into the Palestinian city. On the matter of demands for elections to be held 2 years earlier, he said calling new elections would paralyze Israel for 6 to 8 months. Netanyahu has approved a new round of ceasefire negotiations in Cairo, but Hamas has not yet agreed to participate, waiting to hear what comes out of talks between Egypt and Israel. Mavin Carrizo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Maria Latoza, live from Australia. Good evening.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word. From the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 6, it says, "But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." And those are the reasons behind the news, April 1, 2024. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold, because we need to know. We will always ask why. I'm Ferdinand. We serve the people. We give glory to God.